Hello everyone, welcome to the West Ham Irons channel. It's Jazz special program again. Special show on our search for hopefully our next manager after David Moyes leaves. You know that we did one last week on Ruben Almiron. The latest on Ruben Almiron, everyone, is that he had that meeting with Sullivan. We don't know what's quite was discussed. I imagine it's just part of the interview process. But he surprisingly has made a comments, and that is odd. I wasn't expecting that. I thought professionally that West Ham would obviously keep quiet until we announced a new manager, and then we don't even need to discuss why we said no to perhaps the people we interviewed, why they didn't get the job. The club's not going to say that. The candidates can say a few words, but they should only say something after the process has ended. And Ruben Almiron's comments are very, very weird, and I'm a bit surprised by that. And I don't think he comes to light in a good way. I think because he thinks he had the permission of the club, right? And he says that, which is fine. He doesn't need to apologise to the fans then, does he? Right? It just means that he wants to leave Sporting Lisbon. He wants to come to the Premiership. There's no way that you would fly over and meet West Ham if you're not interested in the job, right? No way. Like I said, the Premiership is where the money is, where the challenge is. It's the best of the league, and you'd obviously want to go there, right? So he's gone there because West Ham are pretty persistent, I think, rightly so. That looks like they want to interview everyone and they want to offer the job before the end of the season, so that when the season ends, as soon as that Luton game ends, a few days after that, they want to announce the new manager, which is the way to do it. So you got as much time in the transfer window as possible. And I reckon the club, about a week or before the Luton game, they're going to announce that David Moyes is going to leave, so that on that game, Luton, you can thank him, applaud him. There might be a ceremony, give him an award or something. I don't know. So I think that's the way it should be. I don't know if the club will do that, but it looks like they will. And then I think, as soon as the season ends, that they should get the new manager in ASAP. And that's all part of the process. So although Ruben Almiron wanted to wait until the season ends before speaking to West Ham, and that way he wouldn't have to apologise to Sporting Lisbon fan. West Ham are like, listen, if you want the job, we want to speak to you right now. And that's why he went over there. It's not stupid, right? But why apologise? And I don't understand it. He should have just kept quiet. Talked about the football on the pitch. So he doesn't come to good light as far as I'm concerned. I think it's sending out complicated messages to everyone, I think. But that's him. Listen, today's show is about Paulo Fonseca. We'll discuss the man. We'll discuss his history, the past, and tactics. What kind of formations does he like to play in? What will he bring to West Ham? And before we get into it, again, like I said, I don't really have time to go into these managers before they're getting close to being linked with a West Ham job. So I've had a look at this guy a couple of days, and again, he's very, very good. He's very, very good, very, very respected. Plays football the right way, the West Ham way, and if Ruben Almiron gets it, all the best. But if this guy gets it, I'll be very, very happy as well. He's 1 year older than me. He's 51, so I'm going to be 50 end of May, I think. So, but anyway, he's 1 or 2 years older than me. Youthful, aren't we? So it's all good. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen and let's discuss a few things about him. So Paulo Fonseca, from Portugal, again, like Ruben Almiron, not really nothing to talk about in terms of a playing career. It's either there or there's not much there, so no need to go into that. But he's been a manager since 2005, 2004. He's currently at Lille. He's got them up to about third, fourth place, which is Champions League spot. So he's doing really, really well there. And in terms of before that, let's have a look at the points per match. So 1.73 at the moment, 1.79 at Lille. He's been there since July 2022, so I've been there about a couple of years. 86 matches, a very good points per match, 1.79. If you remember, I like managers who are 1.75 and above. If you're in the 2 bracket, which is average of 2 points per match, that's incredible. That's really good. So 1.79 at Lille, very, very respectable. Roma, 1.76. He was there 102 matches. He was there for about couple of years as well, I think. We'll talk about that in a minute. Shakhtar Donetsk is where it really went well for him. 2.37. Obviously, they dominate their league. I think he won the double 2-3 years in a row. And then before that, I was at Portugal. Porto, 1.95 a year there. Not very good at Pacas Ferreira. I don't know what happened there. They're not really a huge club. Just wondering why he went from Porto to there. So Braga, 1.82. So Shakhtar Donetsk is where it starts for this young manager, exciting manager. And then obviously on the back of that, he got the Roma job. He was their manager in lockdown, so very, very difficult. But looks like he was released, but it's kind of a respectable release. It wasn't a hardcore sacking as such. It was just some kind of understanding, because I think Mourinho came in, and in that season before he left, they were third in about January, February, and then they kind of fell off a bit, really. And they decided to go their own ways. But listen, he's in such demand that he kind of joined Lille, really. But there is a 1-year gap there. He left Roma in June 2021. Then he didn't join Lille July 2022. So that's really odd. So it looks like he's had a year off. It must have been his own decision, because he's a manager in much demand, but financially he's obviously well set up. He must have made a lot of money at Shakhtar Donetsk and Roma, but Lille is where he is at, really, and that is that in terms of what he's all about, really. So let me just close that screen, and before we go into tactics board, which I love to do, as you know, summarizing, he's a manager that likes to dominate and be in possession of the ball, which you'll love to hear. And he likes to build up pressure, and he likes to press in the attacking in the attacking end of the pitch, really. So he likes to have the ball, likes to dominate a game, and likes to press from the front, have the ball as much as possible, play a high line. And then we'll go into it a bit more in the other things. So that's kind of really, really positive. It'll get you off your seats. It'll increase the atmosphere better than what it was yesterday anyway, really. So let's have a look at that. So, okay. Hope you can see that. Right. Couple of formations he plays. He calls this a 4-2-3-1, but it's a very, very different to how we do it, really. David Moyes sets up 4-2-3-1 generally to not have possession, stick as many people behind the ball as possible. So under Moyes, as you know, Bowen will be there, Paqueta will be there, Kudus will be there, Antonio will be fucking about having an ice cream over there, they'll be there. This is a kind of, this is the kind of thing we have under Moyes. It's 4-2-3-1, but it's just fucking everyone behind the ball. And then 2-3 times a game, you might get Kudus running down there and he'll fucking see no one up there, and then Antonio. It's a complete fucking mishmash, right? But under this manager, the onus is on attacking, really. So what you'll see Kufal and Emerson hug that halfway line more times than not. A bit similar to Roberts and Arnold a couple of years ago, really. Striker will be central. Kudus will be there, very, very close to him. Bowen there, and then number 10 will be Paqueta. So clear definition. What you will find with his three here behind the striker will be a focal point, expected to stay central at all times. But he likes his wingers, so wingers in terms of Kudus and Bowen, to tuck in. He wants them to tuck inside and be close to Paqueta and Antonio. He expects Kufal and Emerson or their equivalents to be the wingers and provide the width. So this is going to be such an important position under this manager. So these guys are going to be obviously expected to, a bit like the Almiron model where 3-4-3, this is kind of 4-2-3-1, where they're expected to kind of do that and join up really. So Kudos and Bowen are not expected to provide the width, and that's fairly interesting. That's fairly good. That kind of means that if Emerson and Kufal find themselves with the ball crossing the halfway line and they look up, they're going to find 4 targets nicely in the centre of the pitch, close to the goal, close to the penalty area, and easily to find them, really. Alvarez and Souček will be the CDMs, but the interesting point here, and it's similar to the other formation I'll talk to you about, Paulo Fonseca, is that he likes to play with 2 and at least 3 centre-backs, and he wants his centre-backs to be ball-playing centre-backs. He expects all his footballers to be very, very comfortable on the ball, and that's how he does the training. The training is a bit about fitness, a bit about physique, but it's all about how fit you are with the ball at your feet. So most training than not, it's done with the football. It's not just about running cross country. It's about how fit are you with the ball and how comfortable you are with the ball as a footballer. The typical West Ham footballers that we used to have under John Lyle. I remember Bobby Gould's story that saying, I didn't even know how to trap a ball, control a ball until I played for West Ham. We were the academy. With the academy, you were taught to play one-touch football, lay it off quickly, great attacking football, and play with both feet as much as possible. Trevor Brooking has probably be the best 2-footed player we've ever had, one of them, and comfortable. So left foot, right foot, all the training is focused on having the ball at your feet and be comfortable with it, passing it, and also comfortable in terms of pressing. When you're being pressed as well, that you're comfortable with it, you don't lose it. And for that reason, that's why I haven't put Zuma in here at the moment, because I think Zuma struggles with the ball at his feet. I think he's old school. As soon as he gets it, he's just happy to get rid of it a few yards to the left, a few yards to the right. Gerd, I know I have a go at him, and defensively he's very, very poor, but his strength is the ball at his feet. He's very, very comfortable with it. He's good at spraying long passes, short passes, and until we find a better alternative, I'm hoping that if Fonseca gets the job, that he can teach Gerd the defensive side of things, really. Mavropoulos, again, there's a few things that need tidying up with him, but again, he's okay passing it left, passing it right. So these 2 centre-backs are okay with the ball at their feet. I know Mavropoulos does the few mistakes, but that's kind of generally to do with something else and how we defend and things like that, really. But that's what he expects. But the interesting thing, and I don't think it's going to happen in this formation that much, but Alvarez is going to have a very, very important, interesting role if Fonseca comes in. He will expect Alvarez to drop in as the centre-back in the middle. So you got 3 there in case we're under pressure. So Alvarez will frequently, and I know he's doing that a little bit now, so Alvarez will be expected to kind of go in there as the distribution sort of centre half, that kind of responsibility, and bring it out, and then find Emerson and Kufal, and then they will press here. And then if you think about it, if these 4 are not expected to defend that much and tuck inside, then you imagine when we press and attack, we're going to have 5 people over the halfway line most of the time, and at least 4 people near the penalty area, really. So that's music to my ears. Souček, we'll see what kind of role he has in the future. Obviously, he's got a new contract, so he's expected to stay and have a role under the new manager, really. So this is kind of what he likes. Fullbacks to provide width, press with the ball, and press more when you're in the opposition half, really, which is music to our ears. And more often than not, have 3-4 people up front in that central penalty area kind of thing, really. So press high all the time. The other thing he likes is kind of like going back to the 3 centre half. So Alvarez would play as a 3-4-3. So it would be Alvarez, Gerd there, Mavropoulos there, and then the centre-backs, the full-backs will be the same as the Ruben Almiron model, expected to really play more as wingers than full-backs, really, and then Souček will sit in there, and then these guys will be just as normal, really. 3-4-3. Actually, it's kind of like a 3-3-3-1, isn't it, really? Yeah. I suppose the only difference then is, I just remembered, it's Paqueta will be told to go back a little bit with Souček there. And then the difference here, everyone, is that Antonio or equivalent stays up front, and then Kudos and Bowen, they go back a bit. They go back a bit as kind of wingers, but still tucking in. And then Paqueta will have an interesting job here. So Paqueta and Alvarez will have really interesting jobs here. So Paqueta will be expected. So what will happen is when we need to press the opposition when they're trying to bring the ball out, then the responsibility to press will be with Antonio or equivalent and Paqueta. So the number 10 and the number 9 are expected to press the goalkeeper and the fullbacks more often than not. And then obviously when we're under the cosh, then Alvarez is expected to stay in there, help the two, and then bring it out and join Souček and Paqueta in the middle. But the magic thing about Paulo Fonseca, everyone, is that he's not stuck with one formation. He changed the formation a couple of times at Roma, but the general thing about how they want to play football is the same. They want the ball, they want to press with the ball, they want to attack with the ball, they want their players to be comfortable with the ball. It's all about cultured football, good football, which is what we want. And that even goes for the defenders. So when you're signing a centre-back, that he wants them really good, comfortable with the ball. When he's signing fullbacks, if I look at this model and I was Paulo Fonseca, I probably would be required to spend most of the money on the fullbacks because they're so pivotal in these two formations. So they've got a lot of work to do, attack as much as they can, hug that touch line, and then go back and drop and make it back 3, make it back 5 as and when needed. And that's kind of where the issue is. I'm hoping that Paqueta obviously speaks Portuguese, Fonseca does as well, that he could have a big role to play. Because at the moment, if you're a cultured footballer, you're attacking footballer, you're a skillful footballer under David Moyes, your game's just taking a battering, and you wouldn't want to wake up in the morning, go to training or play for a manager like that. What you want to play with is Fonseca saying, Paqueta, you are my number 10. Don't worry about defending so much. All I want you to do is Souček and Alvarez will give you the ball as quick as they can, and you kind of obviously spray it to Kudus, Bowen and Antonio. And then when you haven't got the ball, then Antonio equivalent, because Antonio can't do this, or Paqueta, you go and press that goalkeeper, and we leave Kudus kind of tucked in as a nice wingers, ready to provide the assists really. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And Alvarez is already made for that position as a sweeper. He's playing it right now. His past at Ajax is that he has played at centre-back before. He's kind of all right with it. And I think he's okay bringing it out. I think he's okay bringing it out and defending as well. So I think Alvarez is made for Fonseca kind of formation. Paqueta is as well, Kudus as well, Bowen. We need to buy obviously a new focal point, number 9. We need to freshen up the fullbacks. So I think most of the money will be going on fullbacks and a striker, I think, and then anything left over, try to improve the two centre-backs next to Alvarez, I think. So that's the kind of the thing I'm thinking. Obviously, like I said, the issue again is Lille are in a Champions League place. Will he want to leave that? Apparently, Fonseca met Sullivan in 2018, and Fonseca decided he wasn't interested after that meeting at Sullivan's house. So it's more of that was true than West Ham saying no. So it is worrying, but I think it's a different type of club now. It's a different setup. You got Tim Steitens in there. Interesting enough, Liverpool are prepared and have agreed to pay 9 million for the Feyenoord manager, and he'll be called the coach. He won't be called a manager. So again, everyone's moving towards this coach, sporting director model. So yeah, Klopp was the manager, but the new manager at Liverpool will be called the coach. So that's kind of interesting. Apart from that, like I said, the training off the ball is largely back ball control, high retention, controlling the ball when you're being pressed, and then obviously without the ball pressing the opposition. So yeah, I find it quite good, and like I said, it changes all the time. You can do 3-4-3, you can do 4-2-3-1, but in a slightly different way to David Moyes, and it's always evolving and changing. And the players you bring in are they're comfortable with the ball at their feet, they're cultured, they can bring it out, and the fullbacks, hopefully you've got the engine, the stamina, and kind of the good enough crosses to create, really. As we know, Kufal's crosses are very, very weak. They're not good enough. He's not very good in the attacking side of the pitch. Emerson tries his best, but he's touching 30. Kufal's 31. Zuma, he's not good with the ball at his feet. He can't travel. He's accident waiting to happen. A Gerd and Mavropanos, not ideal. Need to be taught the defensive basics. and then we'll see what happens with those guys. But Alvarez can slot in there straight away. Paqueta, Kudos. So there's about four of them can slot in. I don't see a place for Ward-Prowse, unfortunately. Ward-Prowse, I don't think is mobile enough to play in this kind of position. So we'll see what happens, how he's used. Obviously, he's got a long contract. We paid 32 million for him. I'm sure he's got part to play on the bench and other things, really. But that's kind of what it is with him. I'm kind of very happy with Fonseca being linked. And having looked at him, he's 51. And the good news is that the other guy, he's going to AC Milan, isn't he? The one who used to manage Wolves, Lopetegui, whatever his name is. So that's kind of good news for West Ham fans, really. And we don't have to worry about that too much, really. So like Ruben Alba and Fonseca, very, very similar coaches. Fonseca's got much more experience than Almiron, but equally as good, equally as exciting. All play football in the right way. Similar formations, flexible formations. And yeah, it's football, it's bright football, it's pressing. It's a bit like when Poch took over Tottenham and Klopp took over Liverpool. It's that kind of football Fonseca likes. He likes to be in the opposition's half more often than not, starting off with the fullbacks, providing the width, and the wingers tucking in to make a nice central free fall up front. You know, the most frustrating thing with David Moyes, we attack down the wings, but because we play so deep, so defensive, it takes Antonio 2 days to get into the area. There's so many, one or two situations yesterday, Antonio didn't even come into the picture. We were attacking with, he's somewhere in a corner doing something. It's just fucking all over the place, right? So it's good that he's being linked. There's rumours we want to speak to him. Again, I like to think he wants to talk to us. And he's a sensible appointment, I think. And if any other manager comes in, we'll have a look at it. I didn't want to do the tactics thing on Lopetegui, whatever his name is. I don't really. I'm not saying I don't rate him or hate him. I'm just think we could have considered him 10 years ago, and I don't want a Pellegrini Part 2 coming again. Pellegrini came 10 years too late. We're looking at Rafa 10 years too late. We're looking at this Leopardini fucking 10 years too late. Fonseca's 51. Didn't quite work out for Roma, but he certainly wasn't a failure. Just they kind of amicably went their own ways. He did a very decent job. Roma's statement on him leaving was very respectable. They love what he did, and Roma's statement on him was that how good he was with the young players, developing them. So he's a man who points per matches is 1.7, 1.8, nearly everywhere where he's gone, and that's not easy to do. And yeah, he's managed in Portugal. He's managed in Shakhtar Donetsk, and then obviously Italy, which is great. Great experience, but still so young and dying for that. I think the timing is right for Fonseca to come to West Ham, come to the Premier League, and hopefully, and I think he'll be an important cog in trying to keep Paqueta. I know they're from different countries, but Brazil and Portugal speak the same language, similar cultures. I think that's a huge pull, and a huge pull is the way Fonseca will set up and let these attacking players flourish. I think that's a huge pull, you know, and I find that quite key. Fonseca comes in, or Ruben Almiron, I think they'll be key in trying to keep Paqueta at the club, as far as I'm concerned, really. And he might even bring one or two players with him, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there before the North London derby. So again, put your comments in there. It's been a great banter with you guys in the comment section. Like you said, I always try to reply to each and every comment. So yeah, put your comments in there, share and subscribe. Yeah, heading towards 3,000 subs, like I said. So yeah, shortly be back with more interesting shows as interesting news develops in and around our club, really. So yeah, everyone take care. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the 2 free games on offer, really. So yeah, come on, you Irons. Come